This is African American History is American History. James Weldon Johnson was more than just a writer and civil rights activist. He was a trailblazer who helped shape the course of Black history and culture in America. Born on June 17, 1871, his legacy stretches far beyond the page. A man of deep conviction, he was fiercely dedicated to the fight for justice. Alongside his wife, Grace Nail Johnson, who was also a prominent civil rights activist. Together, they were a formidable force in fighting for anti-lynching legislation. In 1904, James Weldon Johnson participated in Theodore Roosevelt's successful presidential campaign. After becoming president, Roosevelt appointed Johnson as United States Consul at Puerto Cabello, Venezuela, where he served from 1906 to 1908, and then to Nicaragua, where he served from 1909 to 1913. In 1917, James Weldon Johnson took his passion for justice to the NAACP, where his work would leave an indelible mark on the organization and the nation. In 1920, James Weldon Johnson was appointed Executive Secretary of the NAACP, a position he held for a decade. But Johnson's contributions were not confined to the political arena. He was a literary giant, a key figure in the Harlem Renaissance, celebrated for his powerful poetry and novels that illuminated the richness of Black culture. His most famous work, the lyrics to Lift Every Voice and Sing, now known as the Black National Anthem, remains a testament to his vision for Black unity and empowerment. In 1934, he made history once again, becoming the first African-American professor at New York University, a landmark achievement in a career that constantly broke new ground. Tragically, Johnson's life was cut short in 1938 when he was killed in a car accident in Maine. Yet his impact on education, culture, and civil rights endures. In 2020, New York University established the James Weldon Johnson Professorship in his honor, ensuring that future generations would continue to learn from his brilliance. Ida B. Wells was one of the most outspoken women activists, Black or white, in U.S. history. And this was at a time when being an outspoken Black woman activist was virtually unheard of. During the early 1900s, there was a great deal of tension between Ida B. Wells and white female suffragists. Many of them promoted racial violence. Back then, white women were unwilling to include Wells, and other women of color for that matter, in the suffrage movement. In her speeches and writings, Ida B. Wells emphasized the connection between racial and gender discrimination, which advanced the cause of Black feminism. She believed that women's suffrage would provide Black women with an opportunity to get involved in politics and help elect African Americans to influential positions. On February 14, 1863, a 26-year-old from Troy, New York named James Henry Gooding signed up to serve in the 54th Massachusetts Volunteer Infantry, the first Black regiment recruited for the Union Army.
The 54th went on to become one of the most famous regiments of the Civil War, performing acts of heroism such as the legendary storming of Fort Wagner, which was depicted in the 1989 motion picture Glory. Gooding wrote a series of letters from the front lines to the abolitionist newspaper, the New Bedford Mercury. For over a year, he described the war from the black perspective. Wounded and captured during battle, Corporal James Henry Gooding died in the infamous Andersonville prison in 1864.
He could ride like the wind, rope like a master, and take down 1,000-pound steer with nothing but grit, instinct, and his teeth. He was Bill Pickett, cowboy, rodeo legend, Wild West showman, and the first black man inducted into the National Rodeo Hall of Fame. This African-American cowboy with Cherokee ancestry didn't just ride into history. He wrestled it to the ground. Born in 1870 in the dusty hills of Jenks Branch, Texas, just outside of Liberty Hill, Bill Pickett was the second of 13 children. His father, Thomas Jefferson Pickett, had once been enslaved. His mother, Mary Gilbert, raised the children with strong roots and an even stronger faith. They were a family of African American and Cherokee heritage. By the 5th grade, young Bill had left school to become a ranch hand. He learned on horseback, among the dust, the cattle, and the wide Texas sky. The open plains became his classroom. Out there he studied more than just the herd of cattle. He studied survival.
This is African American History is American History.
Out among the Texas Longhorns, Bill studied the moves of man and beast. He watched cowboys wrangle runaways, and he watched the bulldogs. See, when a steer got loose, some ranchers would sick their bulldogs on it. He'd seen it before. A runaway steer chased down by a bulldog. The dog would clamp his jaws on the steer's lip and wrestle it to the ground. Bill thought, hell, if a dog can do it, so can I. He started to practice, riding hard, leaping from the saddle, grabbing the horns, and biting the steer's lip to bring it down. He practiced for weeks. He created what came to be known as bulldogging. And it wasn't just a stunt. It was strategy, strength, and showmanship all rolled into one. He started small, country fairs, dusty arenas. But word spread fast. Bill Pickett, the black cowboy with the bulldog bite, could stop a steer cold. He and his brothers formed the Pickett Brothers Bronco Busters and Rough Riders Association. But it wasn't long before Bill rode solo into fame. In 1905, he joined the legendary 101 Ranch Wild West show, rubbing shoulders with the likes of Buffalo Bill, Will Rogers, and Tom Mix. They called him the Dusky Demon, a name steeped in the racist language of the time. But Bill, he just wore it with pride. See, he wasn't just a cowboy. He was a showman, a superstar. Although gone, Bill Pickett's legend only grew. In 1972, he was inducted into the National Rodeo Hall of Fame. And in 1989, The Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame followed suit. In 1993, the U.S. Postal Service honored him with a stamp, though they accidentally used his brother Ben's face. The mistake was corrected the next year, and Bill got his rightful image, drawn from the original movie poster for the Bulldogger. Today, a statue stands tall in his hometown of Taylor, Texas. Streets, trails, and even a hill in Burnett County bear his name. In 2018, he was inducted into the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, and the sport he invented, bulldogging, well, it evolved into the steer wrestling events still thrilling rodeo fans to this very day. An innovator, an originator of a modern sport, a breaker of racial barriers, a globally recognized performer, and the first black cowboy movie star. But above all, an inspirational figure. You see, in essence, Bill Pickett would be, and should be, celebrated today as one hell of a remarkable human being. This has been African American History is American History. I'm Harlan Kearsley. Thank you for listening. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe. Once you do, you'll be notified as soon as new episodes are posted. Thanks again, and please stay safe. African American History is American History. Copyright H.C. Kearsley, 2025.